they would kick a small child.
Oh, I didn't know my phone should be charged.
Get your shit together there.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to episode 9 of Simple Politics.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. So, long story short, this has been, first of all, $1.9 trillion stimulus package, in which also $15 an hour was voted on but not passed, and the Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema managed to make herself look like a goddamn idiot. We want to hit up on what has been going on in Texas, because Texas is a case scenario, a case study in why libertarianism is a bad idea. Finally, I will.
Andy the.
I will finally let you guys bitch about libertarianism,
Yep.
because Texas basically screwed the ball and screwed up everything on that. But yeah, we got a nice episode for you. Keep listening.
So a weird thing is a lot of Republicans in the older generation, they want to associate college learning and the following of the sciences as this liberal agenda.
Conservatives want us to think that.
Yeah, have you not heard that? Have you not seen how older generations continue to say that colleges are just pushing a liberal agenda?
Oh God, that's been a thing for years.
Yeah, it's so weird
since
that
I was young.
Yeah, and we're continuing to see it more and more, that it's just this liberal agenda, this thinking. And look where it's getting us as we go on, where you have one whole group saying science is real and the other group saying science isn't. But then yet we had a rover land on Mars 2 weeks ago. That is an accomplishment in its own for science.
Yeah. So to the first point as to whether I do think that sometimes we push people to go to college who shouldn't be. And
that's true.
But at the same exact time, it does drive me up a wall when I hear saying colleges are pushing a liberal agenda. Well, okay. I think I've said this to Pat before, but if you went into college a complete conservative, you're definitely not going to come out as one. You're probably going to be maybe moderate. And
to me that just sounds like, oh, they're actually thinking of different ideas. They're actually understanding other thought processes. It just seems like more and more the Republicans just seem to be more like a potato. They just aren't too smart.
Yeah. And at the same exact time, you have, some liberals, not all, but some, will react badly and saying, oh, we need to fund the arts and stuff like that, which I'm for, but we're not all going to be art majors, for crying out loud. So
no, but where that comes from is that if you look at high schools and then you look at colleges, the first programs to be hit would be your music programs and your art programs, while the football team will get brand new jerseys again. That's why they're saying it. It's that not everyone needs to be some person ready to get CTE to get the funding. I mean, there are people who want to be artists or photographers or musicians, and people who say they don't deserve any funding, well, they're the people who are like, yeah, why football man knows stand up to song? That's it. There's no further thinking to them. They see what's in front of them, and then that's where their thought ends.
Oh, well, conservatives do that mostly. Liberals sometimes do it as well.
Yeah, but that's the general public thinking, is that they will be angry at what's ever right in front of them, and then once it goes behind their back, it's done. The Capitol riots.
Yeah. I think as a society, we need to start being more realistic. If we're not...
We need to hold people accountable. I mean, Fox News is just pretty much just propaganda. at this point. It's just pure propaganda. Shouldn't even be called Fox News. They should just remove the news, call it Fox Entertainment. Tucker Carlson should just say what it is, that he's an idiot and he has nothing of value to really say, so he's just going to spout shit for boomers.
Yeah, I mean, there's something interesting going on at Fox News right now since you mentioned it. So Rupert Murdoch is about to turn 90 years old. They are somewhat wondering, well, what's going to happen to News Corp? They're not sure who's going to take over the business when he dies.
Oh, gosh. Who will?
His son who currently runs Fox News. He's the most likely candidate, but, and this would be a very interesting scenario, he has a younger son who's also been wanting to take over the family business, but he's not exactly a liberal, or he's not exactly a conservative. He is somewhat of a liberal, which would be interesting to see if he were to take over and start liberalizing Fox News. Like that's the pipe dream in the sky scenario. But this might be the opportunity, because all the people who knew what they were doing, even though they were assholes, Roger Ailes is gone. Rupert Murdoch has been, and News Corp have been selling off a lot of their assets, like most of the print media. There's rumors going around that the Washington Journal might be next. So the beast that is the conservative media, at least the mainstream conservative media, is starting to die down a bit. But then you've got these very right-wing networks like OAN who are probably...
I mean, that one's really bad. That one is just terrible. Parler, where they attract all those QAnon people. Like, what about the QAnon people that showed up on the 4th to Washington, D.C. because they believed Trump was going to have inauguration?
Okay, so funny you mention that. So right outside of the White House, they were building something. It was basically what it actually is. This is what it was. What they were building was a platform for cameramen to stand off of. But there were people on Parler and on Gab, I think it's called. They were like, oh, those are gallows where they're going to hang Biden and Hillary Clinton. It's like, no, you idiots. That's not, like, they are so in their, little bubble that, there, to be fair, I guess, if you want me to be fair, there were some people saying, no, you idiots, it's a camera platform. But, the next couple of years in media is going to be interesting. But here's an interesting scenario. If Fox News does become, quote, more liberal, would that actually leave room for not what, like, if there's going to be no conservative outlet, you might have OAN rise up. And what's starting to, the Young Turks, they're actually starting to get more and more of mentions in the mainstream. Like CNN did this recently. So we might actually have an actual left-wing news outlet.
I mean, it's possible, but it's just like society itself just is moving towards more liberal because people are just reading more stuff they find on the internet. It's not so much that they're seeing MSN say one thing and they're like, I gotta believe that to a T. No, people are looking at multitude of different things on the internet. Republicans are dying out. The only people who I know are Republicans that are our age are because their parents are Republicans and they didn't think outside any other box. They're just following in those footsteps.
Yeah, I also have another theory about the Republican Party. So this is the way I see it. So you've got
besides, you look past the racism. The big glaring fact is that they do want to be a little bit racist. Look past their church-going values. What really is the core foundation of the Republican Party right now? Their taxes, their tax idea.
I mean,
Trump is the core of the Republican Party right now.
Oh, definitely. Which is actually a good thing for Democrats if they play it smart. Because Trump, he's going to cause a huge crack in the Republican Party.
that's the thing. Democrats don't play anything smart. Sorry, Steve. I know you don't want to hear that.
Well, let's if we go forward, I don't know. Let me tell you, if Trump loses again in 2024, that could be great for Democrats, terrible for Republicans, because then at that point, the reason why they've been backing Trump is they think Trump's the winner. They thought
Well, yeah.
they think he's their best chance deep down to win. They didn't think that in 2016, and then he went ahead and did win. And then at 2020, and then 2020, they figured this is the only shot we have to win, and they lost. And I still think that many of them believe that Trump's the only one that can do it in 2024 or even come close. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be an interesting 2 years. Let's see if we could get back some of these Senate seats from the
I think,
Republicans.
honestly, the Democrats are
And let's
opposed to
see
big waves.
let's see if they're able to get things done. You know, like we have these, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema throwing monkey wrenches into everything.
Oh man, she looked like an Pat. Kristen Sinema, look her up. I swear to God, when she voted no, she looked like an anime villain. That's the only way I can describe it. She tried to like have this John McCain, I'm going to be the maverick of the Democratic Party, and she made herself look like a moron. Seriously.
Look at her, too. It's like...
She looks like an anime villain. And she was part of the Green Party at one point in her life.
She was. What is she doing? Why is she messing up?
That's her voting no against $15 an hour minimum wage.
Well, she's always been. She was a member of the Blue Dog Coalition.
Do you think they just do it too because she's in Arizona, and Arizona is, really
Arizona's
a red
trending blue? It's trending blue right now. They just won both Senate seats.
Yeah, but I mean,
and-
overall, Arizona is like kind of an underdeveloped state. It's just a desert.
Okay.
It's just a desert with a city.
You, Steve,
It's a growing state. It's a lot. It's one of those states that have had a lot of people moving there. I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's just a desolate place.
okay. It's so. First of all, you have to be.
Wait,
Yes, there is a little bit of show that it is trending blue, but don't take that as to mean, oh wow, holy crap, it's gonna, tomorrow, all the representatives are gonna be, Democrats. The same thing same exact thing you were saying right now. They said about South Carolina.
I did not say that. Oh, tomorrow everything's gonna be blue.
I know, but you're acting like it.
No, I'm not acting like it.
Okay.
The governors are Republican. Most of their statewide offices are Republican. The legislature is still Republican. I said it's trending blue. Trending blue means it's going in that direction.
But that's why the 15 hour
I didn't say it's going to keep going there until it's 75% Democrat.
But you're using that as evidence as to why Kristen Sinema could have voted for it. Could have voted for it.
Yeah, that's
why she did it.
Yeah, there's a reason why she didn't.
There's a reason why she didn't. I've shared this on Facebook multiple times. It's
because I look at your Facebook page all the time.
She takes money from the retail and restaurant industry. That's why. It's
So
the
she
same
can be
reason.
hot.
It's the same reason Joe Manchin and Maggie Hassan have all voted against the minimum wage increase. Because
So it sounds like they're also dead weight in the party, though.
Yeah, they're dead weight in the party.
Oh
dead
yeah,
weight.
I mean, she definitely is. She's the biggest dead weight of them all, next to Joe Manchin.
Yeah, I mean,
But
so
the
I
prob-
can take
but
I
the
think Joe
problem is,
Manchin's
though,
more of a dead weight.
So I could take
the problem is West Virginia is here, and Arizona is here. Now I don't know why you had to take a smack at me and say that I was saying that Arizona is like this like huge fucking bastion of liberalism. But Arizona is a lot more to the fucking left than West Virginia is. West Virginia is trending red. Now, I still think that West Virginia can at least elect a Democrat, maybe not Bernie Sanders, but he can still elect somebody that is half decent. But Kristen Sinema should have voted for that bill. So should Maggie Hassan. So should Jean Shaheen. They all should have voted for that. They're the Democratic Party. They're supposed to be the pro-working class people, and they can't. And we're not going to get anything done or be able to. What are we going to be able to take to people if we can't get things done for the working class?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Why Kristen Sinema should have voted against that bill. The other senator from Arizona is supposed to be more conservative than her. He is not showing that at all. But he voted for the minimum wage increase, and his election is up in 2 years. Sinema's not up until 24.
Yeah, and that's pretty crazy because to me it sounds like I said I could take a napkin right now, draw a smiley face on it, and it has more value to the Democratic Party than her.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, she's dead weight. She's the Mitch McConnell of the Democratic Party.
Wow.
Dead weight.
Mitch McConnell's just evil. Like they're like that man.
Well, when you lived like over 800 years, you got nothing else to do.
So apparently, Mitch McConnell might not finish his term in the Senate.
Is he dying due to his terrible age? Like, is he not drinking enough virgin blood?
Is he gonna retire?
You can't get enough virgin blood.
There's been a lot of talk that's starting over in Kentucky that he doesn't think he can make it to the end of the term, or at least because of his health. And
because he can read a book, and that's a lot of those Kentucky people.
The problem is he's got a Democratic governor in Kentucky, and if he leaves like right now, the Democratic governor appoints a new senator. The problem is, what Mitch McConnell wants to do is Mitch McConnell wants to go to the legislature, which is overwhelmingly Republican, and basically try and convince them to change the law that says the legislature appoints the new senator, which would basically leave everybody is pretty sure that they would just choose Daniel Cameron, the attorney general that let those cops walk after they murdered Breonna Taylor.
I mean, when you're a cop, that's what you get to do. Cops aren't held accountable. There is no accountability. If you have a lot of money, you don't get to be held accountable. If you're a cop, your union's going to protect you. You're not accountable. If you're Trump, for some reason, you're also not accountable for anything.
Well, if you're a Republican, you're not accountable at all.
Unless you're a dirty, poor Republican, in a trailer or something. Then you're accountable. Because they just want the vote, but they don't want to see or talk to the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I still see ads even on my Facebook for something. I'll see a random ad saying Republican Party for the working class, and I'll have a college student saying it. And it's like, what a load of shit.
I don't see those ads.
I don't even understand why I get those ads. It'll just be a random ad, and it'll be like teens and kids for Trump, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's almost like that one weird thing I showed you today, that screenshot I took of that one person about the windmill energy. What the hell? That's what I'm talking about. There are people like that in the world that are just batshit insane.
Yeah, the global military is going to somehow learn how to control the weather. What in the hell?
So yeah, there was so Steve, there was an article talking about wind energy and stuff and how there is an upward trend going to renewable energy. And then this person said, until you can factor in the weaponized weather by the military are going to weaponize the weather to cause the climate change. It's been in a treaty since the 1970s. You look it up. That's what these people are literally saying on stuff like this. That's batshit insane.
What? Wait, what treaty?
I don't know. It just says look it up. But yeah, if you look in the screenshot I took, it says it's been in the treaty since 1977.
It's been in the treaty since 19... Okay. Until you factor in the weaponized weather by the military globally, there is no level playing field and no intelligent conversation about climate change. The boys with the toys will still be at it after you make a plan.
That's insane that someone can literally say that with a straight face. That's literally like Mitch McConnell saying $600 is just a lot of money. You guys should be lucky to get that. Can't give you a dime more, though. Tough fucking luck. And then you got, Abbott fucking being a fucking shithole in Texas saying, nope, this is just the way it is in Texas. And, blame the windmills.
Oh, man.
It's like you'll still see Republicans targeting about, like, they still bring up the Green New Deal. Like, they hate the Green New Deal. Like, China is doing a great job. They could be doing a lot better. It's just because they have so many people. Of course, their pollution output is going to also be bad. But, yes, they have a lot of coal, but they are making bank on their renewable just because they have so many people to do it. Mexico is actually doing a really good job, too, on a lot of their stuff because they're not opening coal power plants. And, I mean, that's already a good thing anyway. Not that Texas is Mexico is like top third biggest country in the world, but you see like Mexico doing it, and I mean we already knew like the neutral countries were already doing really well with it. So I just don't understand why the US just wants to sit back and just do nothing at all about it, and they wanted to make it political. It shouldn't be political. Like, someone's Republican should still say, I like clean water and I like clean air. Instead, no, that's stupid. Screw your windmills. Give me coal and fracking.
I don't understand it either. Because, I mean, even a state like Texas, I forget the numbers exactly. I have to bring them up, but
it's trending towards renewable.
Yes, it's trending towards renewables.
It's going to be more renewable than anything in our lifetime. The only reason why there's pushback against it right now is because rich people do not have a foothold investment on it. It's like the whole legalization of weed. The people who are against it didn't have a foothold in it. And now you see these people making millions of dollars off of their mini weed farms that they're selling, but yet you still have people locked up for it. That's all it is follow the money.
Yeah. So, okay, I have the number. Like, they actually get a good amount. Texas actually gets a good amount of its power. Like, not the majority. It's mostly natural gas plants, but
yeah. But it's trending upwards, though. It's not a liberal thing. It's just the market dictates this. That's the reason why coal is dead. The market dictated that coal is inferior, so coal is gone. The market is saying that renewable is the future. That's the way we're going to go. I just don't understand why Republicans just can't already go ahead with it. Like, they should have got their investments in beforehand, and that's it. But they use Fox News as like a propaganda machine, so poor people think, no, this is a really bad idea. I don't like this renewable energy, because they're just fucking being fed shit on a spoon, and they're believing it. They're not even getting a silver spoon. They're getting fed dog shit on a goddamn plastic spoon from Wendy's, and they're eating it.
Oh my god. Yeah. I don't understand it either. Jesus Christ. I I don't understand why they're still highly against it. I think some of them might have to deal with that they have. They should. I don't know. It's just
it's just
people.
what they were told. It's what they believe. And like I said, the rich, they're just waiting. They're waiting their time so they can make their money off of it and then go to it. That's what it is. When you start seeing more rich people saying, "Yep, renewable is the way," then you'll start seeing a change. Until then, you're going to have that backwoods Republican saying, "Nope, nope, can't yet, not until someone tells me to." And then you're also seeing a lot of pretty much voter suppression still. Republicans passed laws in the South saying you're not allowed to give people waiting in lines now food or water. So that's just a thing that says that we got to make voting difficult because no Republican's going to get a goddamn popular vote.
No.
There's too goddamn garbage. So they need to bank on full voter suppression, and no matter what we say or do, it doesn't matter until there's someone rich who wants to really change the system.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when it comes to voter suppression, the federal government has to do something about that. There was a plan, Steve, if you want to jump in on this, for the John Lewis Civil Rights Act. How much do you know about that?
I know you're talking about HR1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially we have a whole ton of Republican states that are particularly in Georgia that are doing their usual voter suppression nonsense, and they want to limit access to voting for people who tend to be minorities. Of course, they want the whole souls to the polls thing, where people go to church and then vote after church, and that's a mostly black thing to do.
Yep.
They want to basically prevent that from happening. So it's a bunch of nonsense, Nazi Republican nonsense, and essentially now we have they want to they want to stop that. So HR1 is going to try and prevent that. It's going to try and be kind of like a new voting rights act.
So the history books for
and
these
that's basically where we're at right now.
Could you imagine, like, 50 years from now when we get a hold of, like, a random history book? 2016 through, like, 2025 are going to just be one fucking wild, like, decade of all this other shit. You're going to have people saying, I can't believe people were just this goddamn dumb.
Yep.
Well, the thing about history, and when I took a couple of history classes in college, and there were a bunch of things I didn't know that
Yeah, but
particularly
think
about
though,
the
when
whole
you're
thing with a lot of people overrate a bit about Christopher Columbus, but he was not the nice guy everyone.
he was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit. He should have been hung and just dragged through like a street with through a horse carriage.
Yeah, he was starting the slave trade
But
and all that
that's
other
the thing
stuff.
though. Like you look at like history, even like when we had history, you'd always look back and be like, wow, they did a lot of dumb things back then. Like how they just kind of burned people because they said they were witches and whatever. I can't believe they were that dumb. And then 50 years from now, they're going to look back at our generation. They're going to be like, I can't believe they're just that goddamn dumb. Like, how come they just didn't know to put on a mask? How come they went to great lengths to not protect the environment? Like, they're going to look at, like, Republicans as being like a tumor on society. They're just so divided. And it's really Republicans just being so garbage.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Like every, as a society, we have a collective intelligence, and
They weigh everyone down.
and
They weigh everything down. They are like, You take like one of the world's smartest bears, it's probably smarter than your typical average Republican.
That wasn't quite what I was getting at, but okay. But as a society, we have a collective intelligence, and we learn from our mistakes so that the next generation does it. It's the reason why that whole "oh, I had to do it, so why shouldn't you" argument is kind of BS.
I had to suffer, so you need to. I had to go uphill both ways in the snow, and I need you to also. That's what it is. It's their mentality of, I had to really suffer, so I need you to really suffer. Because it made me turn out fine. It's like, it didn't make you turn out fine, you boomer. You turned out terrible. And look what you did to society as a whole.
Okay. But yeah, that is kind of you know, each and every single generation. I mean, I remember my father saying, "Oh yeah, as a kid we used to play with mercury, and now we definitely don't do that anymore." Or we used to think
Lead
that
used to be pipes.
yes,
All the time.
and lead used to be in gasoline, but we don't do that anymore.
But see, that's how you get smart. Like, that's how you improve yourself. Like, oh, this was a dumb thing to do. Let's fix it. But you have Republicans wanting to go back to like this generation.
I don't
They
know
don't
where
want to move forward.
I don't understand where that mentality. It's like they feel like at some point someone is going to get left behind, maybe mentality.
They're
Like,
afraid that they're going to get left behind because they're dumb.
yeah.
They want their racism and their milkshakes like they had in the 40s. They don't like the racism and the milkshakes of the 2000s.
Yeah, but so yeah, anyway, moving on a bit. So this whole situation in Texas has kind of been interesting. They've had
Internationally, things have been interesting too.
what?
Internationally, things have been pretty interesting also.
All right, what's going on internationally? We'll come back to Texas later and make fun of it.
Biden putting sanctions against Russia.
Oh, that's Russia should Russia until it gets rid of Putin just needs to always be under sanctions. There's no.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like how Putin's like, yeah, I'm winning the election like 110% to 0. I'm the greatest. I bowl 305s in bowling. I golf a 17 on an 18-hole golf course. I'm the greatest. I'm Putin.
Yeah, like
He sounds just like Trump then.
well, the difference is the difference.
That's why. That's why he loved him. That's why Trump was like, "Wow, I look up to you, Putin. I wish I could be you too."
But well, see, the difference is Putin actually kind of knows what he's doing, and on top of all,
Putin has a lot of people who have a lot of money who are backing him.
yes,
like all the
and here's the thing.
oligarchs.
Have you heard of Alexei Navalny?
Was that the one who they tried poisoning?
Yes. So Alexei,
And then he went to Germany. He got like his medical treatment in Germany.
yes.
It was proven that he was poisoned. He went back to Russia, and then Russia arrested him.
Yes, for a really dumb charge. But Putin really needs that guy to go away.
Well, yeah.
Because here's the problem: Putin has all of these billionaire backers. If those billionaire backers at any time can just leave, he can. Slowly but surely, Putin's house of cards is starting to fall a bit. And it probably won't happen soon. In my lifetime, yes, but it's not going to happen right now. But yeah, I will not be surprised if Alexei Navalny, while he's in jail, gets killed. Because Putin needs that guy dead.
He's not just like in a comfy cell in jail. Like he was sent to a corrective labor colony for 2.5 years.
Oh Jesus!
So he's gonna be Pepsi at the end of that. I mean, what they're doing is just like North Korea shit. That's it. It's basic as that. But Putin, I guess, is just maybe a little bit smarter than Kim Jong, but
Yeah, yeah, Alexei Navalny. He's not even like anyone important. Like he's not like if Putin's government were to fall right now, he wouldn't be like the.
oh yeah, it's not like he's like the it's not like
he's
like
just an internet troll.
yeah, it's not like he's like the Messiah where everyone in Russia's like, we need him, we have tattoos of him. No, it was just some random guy who was just like, okay, I guess I'm against Putin. Well, there's your big fucking mistake you did there, bucko, because you don't run against Putin, and that was that simple.
Yeah, Russia should always be under sanctions, and this is something.
So should China. China and Russia are just
two shitty
human,
countries.
They are like their human rights are non-existent.
Yeah,
the cesspool.
See, here's the thing, though. Like, I don't agree with liberals when they say that Russia is worse than China. China is technically worse, but
oh yeah, by far.
Then again, they're both they're both very bad.
They are, but China is definitely like
China affects them. China.
I mean, China still denies like the Tiananmen Square incident. Like nothing happened that day. So.
Oh, and on top
like,
of
just
all,
don't mind this guy getting run over by a tank.
It didn't really happen. Nothing happened that day.
Yeah,
he was going home. The tank beeped at him.
Well, not only that, but like China is actually affecting the U.S. in really bad ways. They're actually making U.S. companies tout their bullshit, because the NBA, when you had some basketball players saying, yeah, what's going on in Hong Kong is kind of bad, and then the NBA was like, no, you can't talk about that.
Yeah, they had to go back against it. Like, you had LeBron James saying, like, I don't think people should be criticizing China. Okay, shut the fuck up, LeBron James. Like, you may be, like, the greatest basketball player in the world, but how don't you fucking know that China isn't one giant big, like, chop shop of human parts, slavery, rape, racist camps, concentration camps, the whole let's pretty much take over Hong Kong and just fuck up everybody? Like, how don't you fucking see that?
Yeah, they're
in this day and age of the internet, we see everything now. We know China's one giant fuck up. We know Russia's one giant fuck up, and we know North Korea is a giant fuck up in a little tiny shell.
Yeah.
I mean, we all see it. Like, that's why, like, China's denying Tiananmen Square is, like, it's pointless. Like, we all know. We're not as stupid as you wish we were as a Trump supporter. Like, we're just not that fucking dumb.
Yeah. But the other thing that China, like, a lot of companies, Nestle is one that I've heard, and
well, they have child's like labor, so they shouldn't fucking exist either.
Yeah, they all the masks, they're being made by Chinese companies through child labor, and they basically forced labor. And they're actually affecting American companies, and they're making it easier for American companies to make money.
Well, the sad thing is that no one is standing up to China at all. No one's going to stand up to China at all.
If you do, then a lot.
Well, that's because, the Wall Street, China. Our Wall Street has made a lot of money on China. They've
all that hypothetical bullshit, fake money trading.
What's going to end up happening is if Biden were to pressure China, that would piss off Wall Street, and I don't think that. And it's not just in this country; it's politicians in other countries too. They just don't have the guts to pressure China because of its, cheap labor.
And that's what it is. Like, it's all about the money. That's all it is. Everyone in Wall Street also is just all about themselves and how much money they can make. That's why there is no rush to let's punish China, because that's a money issue. That's not, we don't give a fuck, because they don't. We already know they don't give a fuck. It's all about, if I interfere with them, then I don't make as much money. It's that simple. So I can't trust China for shit. And plus, Winnie the Pooh is their goddamn leader. Like, who the fuck is going to trust someone who's Winnie the Pooh as their fucking leader?
Yeah. What I find interesting about China, though, is they are actually kind of, like you mentioned before, they are kind of being a bit. They're not as good as they can be, but they're actually doing pretty good with green energy.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, they'll do one good thing for like a dozen bad things. Like, they can do so much better. They have the power to do so much better. They just also choose to wake up with the shit sandwich and start the day to make everyone else have that shit sandwich too.
Yeah, and they could obviously be doing better with green energy, but they're definitely doing better than America. And I mean, the only real countries who are actually doing good with green energy are European ones, Sweden, the Nordic countries, France, I've been reading, has been doing pretty good. Germany can definitely do better, but they're still better than most other countries. How long do you think it's going to be before green renewables become the majority of our output? Like, instead of it being like 50%, like right now for most of America's output, it's basically natural gas and coal plants. But at what point do renewables take over, do you think? You think that's going to happen in 10 years or 20?
I honestly would say it's probably going to be within 10 years, because once we see like a state a state like Texas do it, then it's a no-brainer that other states will then be like, time to cash in now. Yeah. It's really going to all depend on really the development of how far does Texas go with windmills and solar before other states like Arizona and New Mexico start saying, okay, we can cash in on at least definitely solar. California can start going really heavy on windmills off the coast. Pennsylvania can still do a bit better job on windmills and a little bit of solar. Like, there's a lot of states that will then finally say, okay, this is what we're going to start doing. It's just follow the money. That's all it is. Like, it's whenever people are ready to capitalize on their investments. It's like weed. It was all those people who had their money set, and then now they want it to push to be legalized. It's going to be no different with wind.
Speaking of legalized weed, wasn't there someone planning on making a bill in Congress to legalize weed? Someone in the House of two members of the House wanted to make a bill that legalized weed, which, okay, I'm not against that.
I mean, it's not that I'm against it. It's just there's obviously it should be a thing, but there's so many other things we should be doing first. Like, how about we let all the people out of right now, just let them fucking out of prison for it, and give everyone their goddamn stimulus check.
One thing we really need to start doing, and so I really think in this country we need to have an entire 2 years where we do nothing but upgrade our infrastructure, because everything that has going on in Texas with the rolling blackouts, the main issue with that, some people are blaming the fact that they're not on the Eastern Connection power grid as the reason, but that's not actually the reason why, though it would have helped if they were. But they weren't prepared at all, and they should have been prepared for it.
Because they didn't want to be. There was also too much money on the line. Like, the libertarians, the free market and stuff like that. It's perfect. We can gamble the free market with whose power we can go on. That way I can save money on electricity by choosing providers. And now people have $10,000 bills a week because extortion and price gouging.
Yeah, and on top of what, see, here's the other thing. There are a lot of other power plants in this country that, especially in the South and in the West, that aren't prepared. And especially with global warming, you're going to have more of an issue. These issues are going to keep coming up. But on top of all of that, I was reading a report from the Union of Concerned Scientists that's like, a lot of our power grid is very old and was not built to last this long. And
Nope.
that needs to start changing. I mean, every year, whether it's during an election year, no matter what, everyone says infrastructure, we need to do something about it. Can we actually do something about it? Oh, and on a side note, it creates jobs, good paying ones, union
Yeah, not
jobs.
crappy ones. Like everyone complained about the pipeline going away. Those jobs were all temporary jobs.
Yeah.
There was no big gain from them. Those were all temporary shit jobs. The alternative energies is the future in that sector. But
Yes.
like I said, we're going to get there. It's just only a matter of when. It's really how much are the Republicans going to be tumors to society? Because that's all it is. Once again, people aren't working together because their own agenda. It's not about how do we make things better. It's all about, I wish things were like the 1940s.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, nobody is arguing about the issues that need to be argued. It's all about for the Republicans, it's all about Trump, and for the Democrats, it's, you know, let's sort of kind of support minority people, and let's sort of kind of support the LGBTQ plus people, and let's sort of kind of help the working people, but let's just all use those as wedge issues.
Yeah, that's all it is. Like, everything is just these minor issues or issues that don't need to be issues and are. It's just to distract everyone. That's all it is. That Republicans are just very divisive. That's it. It's not the Democrats being divisive, because allowing gay marriage shouldn't have been a topic, shouldn't have been an issue.
No,
It just should
it
have been
shouldn't.
done. It just should have 100% been done. But yet, Republicans still, to this day, still want to fight that.
Yeah, I know, which is
So-
absolutely dumb.
They're burdens in society. They are a broken leg trying to move forward. That's it.
Let me. All right, so I might start a bit of an argument here. So I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was asking him because I know we make fun of him. We love you, Steve. You're not actually a neoliberal, but having said all of that, Steven is the only person who I would classify as somewhat of a socialist who is actually fighting in the Democratic Party. I don't understand why more socialists don't fight in the Democratic Party.
Because they're just not. They're going to get overlooked. They're
You
not
really
going to be
think-
heard and taken
They-
seriously.
They do, though. There's the Democratic Socialists of America, and they're all Democrats.
Well, they're going to be Democrats if they're going to be socialists. But the fact is, you're not going to see them like in the mainstream light, because
Well,
they
I'm
just
not
know
in the
it's not gonna go
mainstream
anywhere.
light either.
Don't worry, Governor. You'll get there. You'll be president of the United States one day.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. I'm just joking. Come on,
Well,
Steve.
who's I don't know. I don't know who's. Are you calling me the governor? I don't get that joke.
I'm calling you the governor.
Governor Steve
Okay.
of Rhode Island. But he's
Um,
capable.
no, I mean I don't know. It's just like some
What are you
people.
doing, Andy?
That's funny.
Some people flake out and just like, oh, it's not gonna work, and they go and
yeah, people need.
unregister as a Democrat.
Yeah,
and
people need to stop
then-
doing that.
and
They
then
do, but
take
there's also
themselves-
a lot of
they take
socialists
themselves
run.
out of the playing field. It's like, okay,
A lot of
Oh.
socialists actually don't like the Democrats. They're only going to vote blue just out of the whole lesser of two evils. At the same time, a lot of Democrats don't want to go the socialist route. So that's why, like, you'll see like that that minor segment of like socialists for the Democrats, etc. But for the most part, it's why you don't see like Biden being a big socialist. You don't see everyone surrounding him as big socialists. It's just because they're going to get forgotten about.
Wait,
It's
see
the
here.
same reason why all the Democrats kind of say, fuck you, progressives. That's kind of what they do.
Yeah.
They are more like moderate Democrats who you see primarily as the front runners of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, well, on top of all that, like, I do agree with one thing my friend said. He said we need to agree on what socialism for this country means. Are we talking, Nordic socialism? Are we or should I know most socialists, they kind of see the Nordic model of socialism as like, a compromise between socialism and capitalism, but like when we say socialist, I think either that or, Pat, you've talked about eco-socialism before, which I kind of get, but I don't understand how it's not really that much different from Nordic socialism. You know what I mean?
It's mostly the same to a degree.
Yeah, but like for some reason people can't, people don't understand what's like when they think of socialism.
Because they hear socialism and like that's a scary word. Like all like the boomers and all the Republicans are like that's a scary word. Socialism and communism are 100% the same thing, and Biden is a socialist and a communist, and China is communism. That's what the Republicans have spouted as propaganda that have also, once again, hindered the learning process.
Well, what do you guys think it should be? What do you think democratic socialism should be? Should it just be, just like I don't know. I feel like some people are just extreme liberals, and they call themselves socialists because they were looking for something to call themselves.
Okay, so
there's definitely various degrees of socialism, and I mean we can still maintain capitalistic staples of society with socialism that won't be so drastic to the American people. Like, yeah, we can eventually go more socialism away from them, but socialism and capitalistic ideas can still kind of coexist today, right now in America, if we wanted to make that happen.
See, this is how I see social. See, here's the problem. When we talk about Medicare for all and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, first of all, we just really need to start working on the infrastructure so that we can start getting renewables going, which will create better jobs in this economy. We need to. Yeah. Now here's the thing.
People need a living wage. Also, we need to fix like all society's issues.
Also,
we need a living wage.
Here's the other thing. So, I have a book that I've been meaning to read called Angrynomics. So, whether you look at communist countries like China or more socialist countries like Norway, they have something called a sovereign wealth fund, which think of it like a endowment, but it's for a country. They basically invest in the market, and at the end of the day, they use the funds from that to pay for things. It's also the reason why it's one of the reasons why a lot of countries like Norway still haven't lowered their taxes, which they're actually starting to think of doing. But they really, this is the one thing I think after we start working on a whole bunch of other problems, like that's the next issue. Every single country that is socialist needs to start. We need our own sovereign wealth fund. There are a lot of economists, including the famous Robert Reich, who's like, yeah, we need to do this. Also, maybe, possibly, you can get one or two moderate Republicans, because if you say to them, look, if we have this sovereign wealth fund that is actually making money, then we can actually have lower taxes. And they're like, oh, okay, sure, I'll vote for that. Now, guys like Rand Paul aren't going to like it because it's the
I
government
don't think you're gonna. You couldn't get any Republicans on the stimulus package. You're not going to get any Republicans for that.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I mean, they already have like the Alaska dividend thing, so maybe you might get Lisa Murkowski if she's still in the Senate by this time.
How old is she?
Um,
Like in her 60s?
Well, she's up there, I think, but I mean, I'm talking about electorally. I mean, she's you know played as a moderate, and might not last very much longer
I
because she might get primaried and lose.
I don't know how she could be a moderate in Alaska, yet Kristen Sinema can't be a moderate or can't be like an actual liberal in Arizona. But
That's the way it goes. Some people are just,
complete,
potato.
yeah, complete fucking idiots.
They are. They really fucking are. It's incredible, really.
All right, gentlemen. Anything else?
No, I think that was pretty good. I mean, we hit it. And I'm sure there's going to be more shit that's going to happen because, right now we're kind of like in that dumpster fire era. Ever since Trump took over, we have this burning dumpster fire, and it's still going. So I imagine there's still going to be more stuff in 2021 that's still going to be like one-upping everything. You got the unreal, but it's real.
I maybe I'm sounding like a bit of an optimist here, but I think 2021, it's starting to get. I mean, from a personal level, like I think 2021, it started out terrible, obviously, but I feel like as the months progress on, it is starting to get better. And with the vaccines coming,
I feel like there's still just a lot. There's still just a lot of random shit that's just it's there, and we know it's there, and it's just it's not done yet.
All right.
But people going to brunch, so
no, yes, we need to make sure liberals don't go to brunch.
They already are. They're already there.
All you liberals, all you socialists, don't go to fucking brunch.
They're already there. They already ordered their mimosa.
Grab your beers, get drunk, and go vote.
Once this this package, this stimulus package goes through that the Senate just voted on yesterday or the day before.
I mean, it's not going to happen for us.
Once that gets passed by the House of Representatives, be careful. Because that's when, once that starts to happen, it's going to be looked at as a moderate victory by the establishment and by a lot of our liberal friends who don't call themselves socialists. It's going to perhaps, I fear, cause them to end up going to brunch, is what's going to happen.
Yeah. You think that's what they would want? You think they would just pass it out of spite, be like, okay, let's divert them, let's give them what they want a little bit, and then they'll be none the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, wait and see.
Yep,
Okay.
wait and see. Wait and see if the world goes on fire. Peace.
All right. We'll see, everybody.